Rahim. Ati'u Allah, ati'u Rasul wa ulul amri minkum. Alhamdulillah, Allah granted us to enter into the holy month of Rajab, and that Allah attached Divinely glory to this holy month. And we talked a few nights before in the preparation for Rajab that Allah is a hidden treasure wanting to be known. And Rajab is the significance of the birth of light. Allah through that light will be known, and the immensity of the creation of Muhammadun Rasulullah is the light. Allah has no shakl, Allah has no form, no direction, no understanding for us. So we don't enter into trying to understand Allah, we go out of faith. So awliyaullah come into our hearts and give us the correct understanding of ma'rifah that Allah is a hidden treasure and will always remain a hidden treasure but wants to be known. And Allah by majesty and might will be known by the best of Allah's creation, a light that is created in truth, and that there is no crookedness and no falseness within that light, and the haqqaiq and the reality of Muhammadun Rasulullah. And in this path of ishq and muhabbat that we're trying to reach to Allah, they put into our heart that love Sayyidina Muhammad, and by means of that love, that mannerisms and that good character we draw near into the Divinely Presence, so that we can get a glimpse of that treasure that wants to be known. Means the way of ma'rifah, Allah wants to be known, wants to give the treasures to the servants whom want to seek it. But they seek the wrong way, so many don't feel anything. They keep knocking on Allah's door as if they can go direct. And the tariqahs come, Sirat Alam Jalala, and teach it's not that simple. That Allah wants to be known, will be known through the treasure and the reality of Muhammad.
As-salamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Shaykh Nurjan. Thank you for watching the video that you're watching. Inshallah, if you're happy with the content and happy with these programs, please support the button below. The programs that we have for our orphanage repairs, our water well, Give the Gift of Life, our mobile food vans. We have now 5 vans: Vancouver, Chicago, Los Angeles, Pakistan. There's many programs that reach thousands of people and rescue foods and give those supplies to people in need. Your support is greatly appreciated. Also, be so kind as to leave loving comments, and please share the stream. Every bit counts. As-salamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Muhammadun Rasulullah is a divine reflection. That reflection appears upon Prophet. So then the servant must have a sincerity within inside their heart. They have a sincerity that if they're truly seeking, and with all sincerity they're seeking, which must only be a gift from Allah, because sincerity doesn't come from our cleverness. So when Allah is saying, there is no guidance except if I guide, means you have no will. There's no way you're going to be clever, you're going to be sincere. It's Allah's ni'mat and gift. When He places that into the heart of the servant so that people will know, the ones whom are sincere, they have an understanding, a respect for Sayyidina Muhammad. And as a result of that respect they enter into Islam. And as they enter into Islam they get confused by groups of people that say that that personality and that character that brought you to want to read the Qur'an brought you to understand, oh their laws are so beatific, they're so natural, they're the divine way of existing upon this earth. Because Islamic law, when these people study it and Islamic haqqaiqs, they enter into Islam. They say, this seems to be the natural real order from every aspect of Islam, but these laws brought by Sayyidina Muhammad. So they come through that door, they accept their Islam, but then there's a group over there waiting to derail people from Islam. So before they can enter really into the heart of its reality, there's a group within there as a warning from Allah. I allowed it. There are a group in there that the only purpose of being in there is to derail people from the reality of Islam. And they come and they begin to teach that, oh yeah, it's nice that you like the Prophet, but it ends there, focus on Allah, and that we don't need that now, and everything is based on Allah, make your relationship to Allah. And we said through all the different teachings and all the different examples that once you cut out the Imam and you cut out the messenger of Allah, it destroys the adab and the relationship of the servant with his creator. That I sent you guidance and I sent you the most perfected guide, because now we know the secret that Allah is a hidden treasure wanting to be known. So who is it that you come against and become rude to, think rudely of, or find no importance in it? The reflection of Allah is hidden in Sayyidina Muhammad. You're coming against the treasure wanting to be found. I hid my reality, my lights, my names and attributes to the extent that your creation can understand it. I hid it in the reality of Muhammadun Rasulullah. So the sincere know that, oh these characteristics that we read about, these knowledges that are talked about, the companions, the love they had, the immensity of how they struggled having never seen anything, it was all because of the khuluq and the character of Muhammadun Rasulullah. They fell in love with the personality and the reality of Muhammadun Rasulullah, and as a result they found Allah, because Allah opened for their hearts sincerity. Said, if you truly love Him more than you love yourself, that you respect Him more than you respect any other, Allah will open His treasure, and through that they entered into sincerity and they lived and died for that love. And they leave for us an inheritance that this is a immense door into that reality, and it's the only door to that reality. All other doors come to a point, from that point they must enter the door of Muhammadun Rasulullah to enter into the Divine Presence. What looked like many doors, now we see that our existence on dunya became very clear, because dunya is an illusion of something happening within the heavens. The malakut is in complete haqq. The falsehood exists within dunya, and in dunya they thought that they had many ways to the Divine Presence. And now with our lives, mashaAllah, Allah granted us long enough life to see that all the ways became false. They say a man is God, the other one says their Messiah is going to be God. They slaughter everyone and say that they're good with God. This is not the light, this is not the way of light, has nothing to do with Allah. So what seemed to be many before, clearly on this earth now, the only religion of Allah is La ilaha illallah Muhammadun Rasulullah. And it became clear because the illusions as Akhir Zaman is opening means all of the falsehoods are collapsing. Anything that was grey clearly became white and black. The people whom looking for the light, they're looking for the characteristics of light. Don't profess to me what the heavens is but act like what the heavens are. And people are fed up with the people who talk about what the heavens are like but yet themselves they do every wrong, kill every person, destroy everything on earth. Not a single thing is left alive when they enter. This is not from heavens. Allah created all creation with love. We're a nation that says, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. It set the whole formula we described before, that who can deviate and who can fake what Allah is about. When a religion that says, we are Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, that our Lord is in the name of Allah most compassionate and most merciful, and this is the entire theme of the deen. So it became clear as we're entering into the last days that, oh, these are all false. And as a result of their falsehood, the heart becomes understanding, and that our way towards this reality and this love of Allah is the immense love for Sayyidina Muhammad. And the only danger that lies in front of us are those whom profess to believe but Allah gives to us their belief is merely a means in which to derail you from your religion. On such a holy month, the way of marifah and all that we've been describing every month, the parda into the heart of Muhammadun Rasulullah, Rajab comes, subhana man huwa khalaqa nur, opens up the realities of 63 because 9 and the power of 9 by the 7th lunar month becomes what? The power of 7, the 7 holy openings, the 7 tawaf. If you multiply that like a fusion by the sultanate, because the 9 represents the king and the kingdom. 9 is the sultan of numbers, 9 is the most powerful number, 9 is the highest number because everything else breaks back down to one digit. 45 becomes 4 plus 5 becomes 9, 12 becomes 1 plus 2 becomes 3. So in this knowledge of numbers, 9 is the king, 9 is the most powerful, 9 has the immense realities and they represent the reality of Muhammadun Rasulullah, huwal awwal, that he is the first of Allah's creation, huwal akhir, khataman nabiyeen, and he is the last of Allah's messengers. And he carries that reality. So that 9 by the holiness of the 7th lunar month opens for us this reality of 63, and the Holy Qur'an is our guidance. And Allah attached the immense significance of Rajab to Surah Al-Munafiq. InshaAllah, Haji Shahid, let's recite the first 3 verses Surah Al-Munafiq.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إذا جاءك المنافقون قالوا نشهد إنك لرسول الله والله يعلم إنك لرسوله والله يشهد إن المنافقين الكاذبون اتخذوا أيمانهم جنة فصدوا عن سبيل الله إنهم ساء ما كانوا يعملون ذلك بأنهم آمنوا ثم كفروا فطبع على قلوبهم فهم لا يفقهون صدق الله العلي العظيم.
صدق الله العظيم وبلغ رسول الكريم. فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. And when these Munafiq they come to you, they say, "Oh, we bear witness that they are indeed following the Messenger of Allah, and God knoweth that they are indeed, yes, God knoweth that thou indeed are His messenger." So they bear witness that yes, the Prophet is the messenger of Allah, and then Allah in the hereafter witnesses that verily they are hypocrites and indeed they are liars. So they use their shahadah as a means to say, no, we are with Allah and Muhammadun Rasulullah, and they testify to it, and Allah says, no, they're liars. So it's not that somebody said, La ilaha illallah Muhammadun Rasulullah and then you listen to them, because we're clear now. The cousin and the other cousins, they have no belief, that's not something anyone debates anymore. Oh, maybe we can listen to this, we can listen to that. Not their food is right for you, not their teaching is right for you, they've left the way of Allah. So the only danger that lies ahead for the believers in this akhir zaman is who? A group of people that Allah is so worried about for us that on this path of light it starts right away that they use their shahadah as a means to trick you from your belief, for very they are liars. So the concern is not the left and the right, but the one whom says he's with you. They made their oath as a screen for their misdeeds, because you think that, oh, he's Muslim like I'm Muslim. No, his deeds are something completely different. And they use their oath as a means to obstruct mankind from the path of God. Truly evil are their deeds. Weren't they teaching everybody Islam? This group? Telling you what was right, what was wrong, what was innovation, what was not allowed, what was allowed. And they had like a veil of who they were. Then Allah lifted the veil because we said there won't be any more grey. So now they'd have parties there, they have concerts there. They even have now tours entering into Mecca Madina, because these are the signs of Dajjal. When we say Dajjal is coming, people think he's some guy with a horn and a tail that comes out like a spike and he's going to be banging the door to enter the Medina. No, he's already there. His agents are there, they're called influencers. His singers and preachers and reciters are all there. They've entered into all those cities and all those areas. Now they're slowly trying to take tours into the region. And those who angered Allah and went astray, they actually said, we have to enter into Mecca Madina, and that those holy sites are ours and we will purify the region. Means purge them of anyone but themselves. Their sites are on Mecca and Madina. They've already entered into these lands. So people are saying, when is this the last days coming? You are in it. Turn on the news and look what they're doing. The Dajjal has stepped and his agents come out and say exactly what they want. They said, no, these areas are ours. Mecca, Medina are our holy sites and we will clean the way. And they said, not even a cow will remain from them. They must all be slaughtered and they must all be purified for what they believe, and said, not even their cow will stay. They have their plan to enter into those areas, and it is the time, not someday 1,000 years from now they're already moving in there. And the only thing that Allah gives for us on this holy month, watch out for those people whom they use their shahadah as a means to give some credibility to who they are. But now you're seeing, no, they're no credibility, they're not even with you, they're with the ones whom angered Allah and went astray from Allah. They're not the people of Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. They're at the bottom level of that reality. And because they believed, why Allah is warning us, ثُمَّ آمَنُوا وَثُمَّ كَفَرُوا. They believed and then they left belief. And as a result of believing and leaving faith, Allah sealed up their hearts. So these are people whom their hearts are sealed. Why? Awliya, don't debate them. Because some people say, why you don't just, we're nation, we're one. No, we're not a nation, that's one. Allah said their hearts are sealed. So what are you doing with a person whose heart is sealed? If one time they believed when they were born and they entered into this system of disbelief, Allah sealed their heart. What there is to talk about? And you see them and how they agitate the hujaj, they go after everything, they make everything to be haram, everything to be difficult. And the only purpose that they're there is so you don't go any further. Because it's important in last days to understand the left and right, okay, they look like they left completely, there's no more debate with them. Your issue is not these people, they have no belief, they have no power. What lies ahead for the believer is the one whom professing Islam but truly has nothing to do with Islam, he works against Islam. And we see it now. People looking to other poor and weak people and say, why you don't help those people, million of them dying. What the poor going to do? Allah gave them the power and none of them stepped up. And as a result an entire massacre has occurred. Now you know what their belief is and what their system is. And as a result this way of ma'rifah is a warning for us that the heart is something that has to be guarded. It's a treasure from Allah. This love is a treasure that's so precious, like the most precious flower you can imagine. Because it's also sensitive, it's not a rock, it's not a diamond where it just you can throw it against the wall and it's going to be okay. Faith is like a beautiful flower, too much wind and the petals will go flying all off this flower. So our path is based on wuquf qalb, vigilance over guarding your heart. And what comes into this heart is through my ears and through my eyes. Because if you truly want to guard your heart, how you guard your heart? Well, the way into your heart is through your eyes, what you saw, and through your ears, what you heard. So then the system is that my nazar on my feet, I don't have to look at all those things and all those videos and everything that being fed to me of these people with these designs and this look that we know is not right. And whatever they say into your ears, Allah is giving a warning that, watch out, maybe his La ilaha illallah Muhammadun Rasulullah is not really that. And he's there as a decoy to push you away from Allah. And when you meet they've had their situations with these people. And this is the immense danger, is that we're entering into these final moments of dunya, and on this way of ma'rifah Allah right before entering in to the holy month of Shaban and the holy month of Ramadan, Allah brings in Surah Munafiqeen and reminds that your greatest danger is from within, not the outside. Not the devil on the outside but the devil on the inside. So who I hear, who I watch has to be consistent with what I believe. Just listening to anyone and watching everything, I'm going to become confused. And each, even amongst shaykhs, each has their own formula. You want to learn how to cook a special dish, you turn on one YouTube, same name. I don't want to give a name because I don't cook any dishes. Chicken biryani. Turn YouTube on, say, okay, use these spices. You make it, it's one flavor. Next day turn different YouTube, different spices, completely different flavor. Third YouTube, completely different flavor. Are they all biryani? Yeah, according to their flavors. So everyone has a way in which to reach these realities. So even amongst the turuqs, you have a shaykh, you keep with your shaykh, you listen and watch your shaykh. And this way of ma'rifah is not known by all. If you go and ask them, they say, there's no need for this. There's no need for connecting your heart, there's no need for having tafakkur, there's no need for reaching faiz. If you don't do tafakkur, there's no faiz. If there's no faiz, we gave the whole talk about magnetism. If you don't make tafakkur and contemplate and pull yourself toward the prophetic reality, the tide is already pushing you towards shaitan. It's like you entered the ocean, you don't really have a rope to where you entered, and you look up an hour later you're swimming all the way mile down, because the magnetism is already geared in 6 directions for satanic attack. That's why we talked about the fashion. People don't think the fashion is such a big deal. We'll go back into it. And we were talking today, fashion came into countries and people were in chador, and they fooled the leaders of these countries, say, we want to bring to you universities, great European sources of knowledge where knowledges came from Islam. Universities were invented by Islam, they lost it and brought it back as something European. But they say, as to come to our university, this chador and this look, you can't come. Then you look in the pictures of these kings in their countries, they all started changing their clothing and saying, we're modernizing our country. So exactly what shaitan was going to do, that through access and fashion he destroyed nations. Diet and food, people don't eat what's from their own country anymore, it has to be imported from the West, and that's not a natural staple for them. Through diet destroyed them, through fashion destroyed them, through music. Everywhere on this earth they represent gangs from Compton, and none of them have ever seen Compton. They all talk and recite just like that. Music influenced the entire earth. So if these shaykhs or people, they don't know this understanding of magnetism, and as a result people are flying towards shaitan and they don't even know it. They look 5 years back and they don't understand why they have so many markings on their body. Could it have been the music you were listening to? Chanting and chanting and cursing and cursing and cursing until you became somebody cursed and you marked yourself. Yeah. So these haqqaiqs are very real, this understanding very real. The danger that Allah gives to us is be careful, have a vigilance over your heart, that what you're going to hear and what you're going to see. And as a result, if it works for you, your heart is interested in it, you've connected with it, then stick with it. Don't go left and don't go right, don't add any spices that weren't in the original ingredients, and you should be safe. Don't come out saying, no, we're all Muslims, everything's great. Apparently we're not. And the last days becomes very dangerous, very deceptive. They're going to use the faith to slaughter the sheep, who by innocence coming and say, this must be a shepherd, this must be something safe, he's like one of us. So the biggest danger is a munafiq. This is the munafiq outside. Your danger is not an outside enemy. Now for ruhaniyat, the biggest danger for our spiritual path is the munafiq inside of us. It must be very deep reality for Allah on the holy month of Rajab, entering into seclusions, and Allah brings Munafiqeen. One is outside, so all life we were trained, don't debate these guys, their hearts are locked, Allah's saying they're locked, don't deal with it. If Allah guides them and a year later they change their opinion, that's based on Allah. Then awliya came into our lives and says, this is also isharat from Allah that your greatest battle is inside you and your greatest demon is within you, and the inner munafiq is the one that destroys. The inner munafiq that completely is completely pretending to be with you on your spiritual path but is not with you on your spiritual path. And that becomes a source of great vigilance. Don't trust yourself, don't sit and listen to yourself and your own advice thinking, oh I reached to something. You fight outside is important to know who are the enemies of this life of mine. Then in our spiritual journey Allah is directing us, Prophet directing us. The greatest difficulty Prophet had were the enemies inside the camp. And they would sit amongst each other and say, do you really believe what he's saying? And cause doubt and shak. Then the lineup would become weakened because they're going to go into battle. Exact same thing happens inside. When you're trying to do something, you're trying to do something powerful but you're listening to your waswas. No, yeah, you're right, no, it's no good. And you had a faith, you had a commitment, you said you were going to do things, you were going to achieve something, somebody inside you gave you a different talk. No, don't need to, not now. And you listened. And what happened? Then Allah giving to us, oh that one inside you is destined for Jahannam. If you take that voice as your guide, he will pull you towards the fire. So it means our battle is many different dimensions. We don't just understand the outside and so we resolve that we're not an outside people, we're an inside people whom continuously are trying to make tafakkur. So I don't listen to myself, I make my muraqabah. I need when Allah said, if there's two of you, the third is shaitan. How does that equate inside? If you're listening to yourself, that's two of you. Who's the third one in that room right now? Shaitan. So I said, I'm going to listen, I just heard the talk, I was inspired to do this and to commit to this, to do my khidmat like this. Allah's warning, anytime there's two of you, the third one is going to be shaitan. So shaitan is going to come and inspire the nafs and the munafiq character inside that negates and comes against everything and is my worst enemy, is already inside of me. And I don't need to be worried about outside enemies. The biggest danger I have is my inside enemy. For if he should do the wrong move and I listen, I've left the path. Because Allah says, they're gonna believe, not believe, then I'll lock their heart and seal it, it's finished for them. We're not going to keep playing this game. If Allah's harsh on the outside, thumma amanu thumma kafaru, that they believe, they disbelieve, then Allah said, I locked their heart, it's finished, the game's over. That's why they spend their nights crying, Ya Rabbi, don't give up on me, I'm not happy with myself. I'm not sitting there and listening to my nafs and agreeing, and then Allah going to close the door and says, that's it, your faith is thing and you became clever and you walked away from the tariqah. Nobody clever walked away from tariqah, because what lies for you on that side of the door? Difficulty. Tariqah is Allah's ni'mat. Tariqah is the way of the love of Sayyidina Muhammad. It's not a clever move when somebody walks away. You entered into that ayat kareem. You believed, you disbelieved. Then you followed your disbelief, it means you listened to the waswas, and as a result the waswas has overtaken the person. Yeah, oh yeah. And as a result of listening to the waswas, they became an inner munafiq to themselves. And that's when these awliyaullah gave this du'a tonight. External people hear this du'a and say, what the heck was that du'a? If there's a door for believers and a door for unbelievers, I'm asking to come through unbelief. Why? Because munafiq says, I'm going through belief, and Allah said, hold on you, I know what you just did. So we're not waiting for Allah to judge us. So I know you're going to find something in my audit, I know Allah will find something. Prophet warned Hazrat Isha, don't ask to be judged by Allah. Nobody gets out of judgment easy. We're not asking to be judged. If the awliya come into our life, even the du'as they gave to us is that be honest with yourself. You know we're doing something wrong, many things wrong. Ya Rabbi, don't let me, I'm not coming through that door. I'm coming through disbelief and everything incorrect. I already know I've done something wrong, don't give up on me. Then Allah never give up on a servant who acknowledges their weakness and their path is a path of humility. That, Ya Rabbi, send for me your servants who will lift me up and inspire me. And this becomes the entire internal battle for the servant. The continuously understanding, Ya Rabbi, don't leave me alone to myself. Third one is going to be shaitan. Then what? Do your muraqabah. So there's not 3, there's 4 now. Because as soon as I sit, I ask my shaykh to be present with me. Why? To be vigilant over what shaitan is playing with my nafs and why shaitan is saying that. And as soon as the appearance of the shaykh comes, shaitan has to go. Is not going to be burned in that fight because it's a Muhammadan light. Allah says, when the truth comes, falsehood leaves, perishes. Zahukan, that the falsehood has no strength to stand in front of them. It operates in shadows, but when the sun shines the shadow disappears. So when they don't understand and they don't teach people to do muraqabah, how they do muhasabah? Just themselves, by themselves. Allah said, if there's 2, the third is shaitan, they only think physical. Why you don't teach people that this is spiritual? Every hadith has a spiritual ramification. Every Islamic law has a spiritual implication. So why would we be content with just 2? No, we do the muraqabah. So anytime we want to make a decision, we sit and make our tafakkur, and my shaykh is clearly present with me. I feel the presence of my shaykh, I train myself to that level to always feel the presence of my shaykh. As a result of the presence of my shaykh, I'm asking now for my guidance, I'm asking for my understanding, I'm asking for what the choices are to make. And as a result the presence of the shaykh and the true strength and presence of the shaykh through my khidmat, through my life and through all my works, because it's my deeds and actions, not what I say. There are people who hallucinate that they have a presence with their shaykh and they write every kind of crazy thing on the internet and all sorts of crazy. It's through my actions and deeds, that through my actions and deeds and my connection I feel that presence. As a result of feeling that presence I ask for guidance, and I know the shaitan can't come to be present. In the presence of my shaykh my nafs is scared and stops whispering, because if the shaykh sees the nafs whispering like that he sends a fire onto him. So this is a system designed for us to reach guidance, but it's only for those who understand and truly think that they have to watch out for their inner hypocrisy. If the outer hypocrisy, Allah's drawing our attention on Rajab, but the real secret is the one whom become vigilant outside, he becomes super vigilant inside. That I've fortified everything outside, I've made sure who we communicate and not communicate with, and my inner battle is the most important. The access that shaitan has, the bad talking that shaitan has. What do you think about the ramifications of following the tariqah and then listening to the inner munafiq? Because you say you're with them, then you go on the dinner table and you talk against him. You don't think they're at your dinner table? That you say you're with the shaykh but you sit far away from him. You don't even want to sit in the same room with him, you go down. Isn't that a munafiq? And that you sit in your home and you talk against him. And what are you accomplishing? You got anywhere? You fooled anyone? No, you poisoned and killed your entire family. They would say the fruits of a poisonous tree. When enemy forces would enter into an area and they want to destroy it for the people who would be coming, they would put poison into the well. So any water you would pull up was all poisonous and you could no longer use the village because they didn't want the other enemies to come. It becomes poisonous fruit. When a person allows their munafiq out, the danger of that munafiq and how he speaks, because not the person, you listen to the ego, you have bad opinions, it's that shaitan speaking. And as a result of speaking, the children are hearing and they say, that's it, I don't want anything to do with these crazy people, this crazy path, this nothing. Okay, great, you just gave everybody some poisonous things, they will never go towards Prophet because that's all they remember. Oh, those Muhammadan, those people who claim to love, oh my dad said like this, my mom said like this. So this immense danger of a munafiq inside can destroy an entire house, destroy generations of people. And you say, I don't know, you look back 10 years later you wonder why your children don't want anything to do with what you believe. Well, what were they hearing for all those years? You thought nobody heard? It was enough for them to hear. They don't do what you say, they do what you do. And that's the whole concept of munafiq. Oh, sit with them, pretend you're with them, but you talk like you're not with them. Hypocrisy has no glue, has nothing that sticks. Hypocrisy by its nature is like black fungus. You know, people are so scared of fungus, if they walk on the hallway, oh there's fungus on the wall, we're all going to die. That they're scared of, black mold. But this characteristic is worse than black mold. Enter into the home, enter onto the table, and it goes into the hearts of the children. And the people later wondering, oh my kids are going left and right in every direction. Well, because this is the danger of the inner munafiq if it's not destroyed. And the one whom can't meditate and contemplate and to control his inner demon or her inner demons, you let that demon speak, it will poison the whole household, the whole family. We pray that Allah give us an understanding, because this is the month of tafakkur, this is the month of khalwa and seclusion. And whatever we plant we are going to eat from those fruits. We pray that Allah make it to be the best and most beatific, and the fruits that are filled with light and good character. If you don't like something, crush your munafiq inside and don't say anything. Bi hurmati Muhammad al-Mustafa Basir Surat al-Fatiha.
As-salamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Shaykh John. Thank you for watching the video that you're watching. Inshallah, if you're happy with the content and happy with these programs, please support the button below, the programs that we have for our orphanage repairs, our water well, Give the Gift of Life, our mobile food vans. We have now 5 vans: Vancouver, Chicago, Los Angeles, Pakistan. There's many programs that reach thousands of people and rescue foods and give those supplies to people in need. Your support is greatly appreciated. Also, be so kind as to leave loving comments, and please share the stream. Every bit counts. As-salamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.